Hi guys, hope you're having a good afternoon and staying safe out there with all the storms, especially if you live in the southeast like I do. Today we're going to be going over quite a long market watch, but I figured this will help give you some motivation to get through the week, being that it's a Tuesday, which Tuesday is I hate Tuesdays. At least Mondays you kind of refresh from the weekend. But yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into this market watch. And there's quite a few cards to go over today, just because a lot of cards are getting a lot of attention, getting bought out. First, I wanted to kind of go over tunes. They have gotten some attention recently. I mean, mainly from the collector side and casual side, but there's some cards that are disappearing. Of course, these are going to be expensive because these are tournament packs, but they are pretty cool. But I'm not going to cover those. I guess first let's talk about Cypher and Gear Gamma collector rare before we get into tunes, since this is up on the same page. But this got bought completely out. Like I said earlier, with some of the lower rarity ones, those will start disappearing too, because this card's going to be really, really good this coming format, and just as good in general. But as you can see, light plays are unlimited or 200, near mint unlimited 250, and near mint first edition is $350. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't be spending this amount of money on this, at least hopefully not. But yeah, it's just crazy to see. But we knew this would happen with Cypher and Gear Gamma in general. I think a lot of people put their attention on this first because it's easy money to just buy for a couple $100 and then flip it for a couple $100 profit. But you will start seeing the actual player base coming in and clearing out the regular copies. And those are starting to move too. If you go look at their price charts, which we will in a little bit, they're up quite a bit in sales and starting to move up in price. But moving back to tunes. And I might not click into every card for time's sake. I don't want to keep too much of your time talking about tunes. Excuse me. But Toon Blackluster Soldier collector rare getting low on copies. If you don't have these, I would get them. I wouldn't get the ultra rare, even though I like the ultra rare too personally. But this will probably get reprinted soon. This whole set's on the chopping block for getting reprints. So even though the ultra rare will hold value as a first, if you get the first edition, because it is Toon Chaos, it will go down in price a little bit, at least maybe down to like the 22 to 25 range. So if you want to invest in Toon Blackluster Soldier for your collection, I would go with the collector's rare. Personally, I would get the first editions, but if you just really want the card, near mint unlimited's fine. It'll still go up in price, just not skyrocket quite as high as the first edition will over time. Another card I think is good is actually Toon Harpy Lady. This doesn't have a reprint. And I was mainly going to talk about the super rare because the super rare is low risk. You can get the super rare first edition for $1. And I have a play set myself. They look pretty cool. It's a super rare. But if you get them, make sure you get the first edition because that will hold some value, whereas the unlimited probably won't long term. But I think you should get them. It checks Toon, it checks Harpy Lady. It's a cool looking card. It's actually pretty decent. I mean, not for all strategies, of course, it's only going to fit in tunes, but yeah, I would get those. And then if you want to get these, this is fine, but I wouldn't do that unless you're a tune collector. Like if you're going to spend $50, there's just a lot better places to put them. And namely, I would say if you wanted to get a Toon Chaos collector rare, there's two that I would look at and that I'm personally looking at getting, the Chaos Creator and Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. The Chaos Creator I think is a little bit more generic, and it's actually just an insane card. And even the ultra rare is like $20, but the unlims for this I know for a fact are 55 to 60, and the first editions are 115 to 130, depending on light play or near mint. Immortal Phoenix is around 45 for a unlim. We'll click into this because I'm not as familiar with this because I just looked at the Toon or the Chaos Creator earlier today. So unlim, you're looking at 44 for lightly play unlimited. Honestly, that's not bad. But we'll look at near mint first editions, which I think are 75. Be careful with going stuff like this. Like let's look at his ratings, because it looks like it's a seller that had good feedback and has just recently come back online. It looks like pretty good feedback. And they have 350 sales. So if you want to do that, I think that that's not too bad. Honestly, in my opinion, that's one of the things when you see 0%, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have 0% sales. If they have like 1 or 2 sales, that means they just haven't had feedback yet. But if they have like 350 sales, what that means is they used to be a seller, but they haven't sold in a long period of time. And so their rating goes back to 0. But if you look back in time, you can see what their rating previously was. But near mint is $70, which I still think is really not too bad for this card. This card's insanely good, and Infernoble comes back. This would be really good. This is also good for really any strategy, warrior strategies that are utilizing Isolde. Just this card's insane. It really is. But moving on. So here's the Toon Blackluster Soldier. It's $45. So I said that's just a little expensive. Recently that got bought out it's not on this page, it's on the next, but it's Toon Bookmark, and it got bought out to $95, which is insane because the collector's rare is $51. But the ultra rare has come back down to around the 40 to 45 range, but still, like if you're gonna pick up ultra rare, come get a collector's rare for $61 here, and then going to 66. And this bottoms out at 75, like $74, $75. So if you really want this for your Toon collection, get the collector rare, don't get the ultra rare, because ultra rare will get reprinted eventually. Maybe not as an ultra rare, but as probably a common or super rare. But this collector rare is always going to hold its value. It's a safe investment. If you're going to invest in any of these Toon cards out of this set, I would honestly say stick with the collector rare, unless we're talking about the Toon Harpy Lady, because it is a super rare. You can get them for like $1.20. I think that's worth it because it's just so cheap, and that probably won't get reprinted for a long time. I feel like that's a card that's just going to miss because these might get reprinted somewhere like Goods from the Past or Maximum Gold, but I feel like Konami's going to stay away from reprinting these too heavily, because Toons, while it is popular, I don't know that it's popular enough where they would say sub out something like Prosperity to print a Toon card, if that makes sense. So it's just not as likely. I honestly think they should reprint these Unlim boxes. I wish they would do something like that. Moving on, the next card is Toon Kingdom Ultimate Rare. This was around $45 to $55, but it's down around 35 to 37, going up to 40. If you don't have these and you like Toons, like make sure you have these. Even if you don't even like Toons, like I like Toons okay, but they're not my favorite per se from the original series. I have my copy because this card should be worth $100 to $120. And that's not like, I feel like that's reasonable. Even if it doesn't go that high, I feel like 65 to 70 is definitely within a realm of possibility. And one thing to note is the secret rare version of this also could be a decent pickup if you want to go about half the price of this. But really, I would stick with this. But when the secret rare hadn't got reprinted yet, the secret rare was going for near $80, maybe $90, and the rare reprint was going for over, I think that was even towards $55 to $60. So people are willing to spend money on these cards. These will get bought. These continue to sell every day. And they're at a low point, I think, since their release. So if you don't have these, like now's the time to pick these up. Alrighty, moving on. We'll see if there's any other cards that we want to talk about. Oh, and I saw in Team Sakurasu's video last night, someone asked about getting Chaos Emperor collector rares. Unless you're getting a first edition, or even if you are, I would say just get the ulti. Personally, I probably actually would rather have the first edition Toon Chaos than the first edition ulti. I just don't think the first edition ulti looks that good, but I think the unlimited ulti looks really, really good. And you know what I mean. If you've watch some of my earlier videos, just the unlimited, they did the ultimate rare printing differently than the first edition. But if you're going to get an unlim, get one or two of the ultimate rares. Like, I'll give credit to Team Sakura, so he gave the perfect answer on that. If you watched his live stream last night, which you may have, you may not have. Another buyout is Chaos Space, and this was going for around 70 to 90 for the unlim, and I said to pick these up, and these are bought out to around 170 for unlims, and the first edition is 191. At this point, I probably wouldn't be picking this card up at that price. I think first edition was a good time to pick it up, was when it was like 110 to 115. Now's a good time to offload them if you have them. In my opinion, I probably would sell these. But on the flip side of that, I guess there is one more card we need to go over in this area, is Chaos Space is actually down quite a bit. It was up to like $16 to $17. And now you can get them for around, I think, 12 to 14. Let's look. Okay, so here's a Chaos Creator for 20. Like I said, I might end up getting this version if I don't get the collector rare, just because I want to play it. But or I want to experiment with it with like Ogdotic and some Chaos builds. But I might just get the collector rare because it's a way better investment. But moving down, here's Chaos Space. And you are looking at $13, which is really good, honestly. It's not as good as when I said to pick it up for like $7 to $8, but it is what it is. I don't think it'll get reprinted anytime soon. Maybe Ghost from the Past, but we'll see. I did see the secret rare Toon Kingdoms, and I am curious to see what those are going for. Oh, here's the ultra rare Immortal Phoenix. You can get those as well. Those are like $10, $11 for first editions if you don't want to get the collector rare. I personally have the ultra rare. What just happened? Let's try refreshing. Okay, there we go. Okay, so these are $10 for light play first edition, and probably going up to 15 for near mint. $12.79. Actually, this is really good too. So if you don't want to do the whole $36 for, or towards $36 to $40 for the ultimate rare, this is still not a bad version to have either. It's crazy to see this low. If we look back for a year, it's not going to have when it got bought out because they didn't have this feature yet, but it was around 28 last summer. But yeah, there was a time when this card was, it was before Toon Chaos came out, and this card was going for a lot of money around the time Toon Chaos came out, because I don't think Toon Kingdom had been reprinted at that time yet. Yeah, that was it. That was definitely the time. This card was like $100. Okay, we talked about the Chaos Creator, so I'm going to move on. And we also talked about Chaos Space. Next, I wanted to point this out. If you didn't know, I have a couple of play sets of these when I opened Dual Overload. The market price is $4 on these zombie worlds, and I think they are actually selling at that price. I've been kind of waiting for this to spike up in price because they have been around $1 for a long time. But yeah, light plays are $2.38 and near mints are $4. Or here's one for $3, but with $1 shipping, so around $3 to $4. Honestly, I think I might offload a couple and then kind of see where this goes. We do have some more zombie support coming out with my Akashis. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And there aren't any direct sellers until $7. So that's a general, I guess, indicator that the big name sellers aren't wanting to offload for this price. So that means they might be anticipating it to go up more, but they're definitely never or not always right. So I wouldn't, even though that is a good indicator, I don't think that it's that important of one, not one to make financial decisions on for sure. Next, I wanted to go over dangers. A lot of these are up quite a bit in price and are pretty expensive. And I guess namely Danger, Tsukinoko, and Secret Rare Danger Nessie. I looked at these earlier and I was hoping these would be around the $12 mark because I sold mine at 26, but they are still at that 20 to 22 range, even with the recent reprint. I think they did fall around to 11 at one point, but I just completely forgot about it after I sold mine and forgot to pick it back up. But the Danger Tsukinokos are around 28 for first editions. And I actually just listed my ultra rare Danger Tsukinoko. But these don't have a reprint yet and are $14, which is me. It bottoming out to 16. I mean, if you really need one to play, feel free to grab mine if you want. I mean, if not, I'm not trying to sell to y'all or anything, but I think there's probably a pretty good chance that we'll get this in Ghosts from the Past, just because they have been consistently reprinting the other Dangers. I feel like this is kind of up for reprint. So we kind of know that this is on their mind because we have seen them reprint all the other Dangers. Because if you look back, we can go through which ones they've reprinted. I know they haven't reprinted Mothman, but they have reprinted Bigfoot. They've reprinted Danger Jackalope. Well, the last one was Battles of Legend, but that wasn't too long ago. They have reprinted Danger Thunderbird and the last Ghost from the Past, which is why I'm thinking that they'll print it here. So I'm trying to get rid of mine. Danger Chupacabra, I don't think they have reprinted that. I have these as well. And then Ogopogo, they haven't reprinted, I don't think. Here's the alternative Bigfoot, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest. I would rather get the original if you wanted to get a cheap one. But one thing I did notice when I was going through here, all the Danger Jackalopes are over $2 to $3, which is nice. I wouldn't sell them for $2 to $3, to be honest with you, though. I would keep holding them. I don't think they'll reprint these for probably ever, but at least a very long time, unless it comes like in a structure deck. I just don't think there is a place for it. But Danger Mothman's actually creeping up in price too for the Prismatic Secret Rare. But one good deal I noticed is if you look at all of the other Secret Rare Dangers, they're up, they're $9+. This one being, 20s, and this one being 20s, close to 30 almost. Danger Thunderbird for its original version is only $3, around $3 to $4. We'll take a look at it. So the unlimbs are $3, bottoming out to like $4.50, and making sure I don't have any filters on. Let's see, first editions I think I saw were around $6. Here's your first one, but I don't really count that. There's your real first 100%. $4.72, really good price, bottoming out to $5 or $6. If you don't have these, I would get them. I think they're at $3 now, if I'm not mistaken, maybe $2. But yeah, I would pick these up just because I think that people are going to want a full secret set of these. Maybe not everybody, but I personally would like that at some point. But they need to reprint Tsukinoko. That's why I'm kind of hoping they'll reprint it and the secret rare will drop down to like 10. And then that's when I'll grab it. Because I don't really want my ultra rare anyways. I just pulled it out of the tins, a couple of years ago and just had it ever since. I'd rather have the secret rare, of course. But these are continuing to fall down. Let's see, price history. They're at a pretty low point for their price history. So I would look at picking these up personally. Moving on, I wanted to talk about my Akashis because we're going to see support, I think, in this next set coming up, but maybe it is further down the line, but I think it's this next set. I could be wrong. The next main core booster set. But Hejuns are around $3. It says market price $5, so I think maybe it is actually closer to like $4. Excuse me, I was getting a call, but I think that these are around $3. Sorry, that kind of threw me off. And these Dockies are around $3, which these look amazing, by the way. If you saw my binder, one of my binder showcasings, I had all of these cards, and I showed this one. This one looks really cool. But honestly, if you're a budget player and you want a new fun deck to pick up, this deck is like extremely fun and can be annoying to deal with for other people because the synchros just keep bringing themselves back. Like, there's pretty much nothing you can do to not have their synchros come back unless you're using like ghost bells or something. But it's incredibly fun deck, honestly, to play. And it's pretty high rarity. Like these are your three main cards that you play as like at 3 copies. Well, Daki, you play like 2 copies, but you know, you got 3 secret rares, and then pretty much everything is hollow in this deck. There's not any non-hollow monsters in the deck. And like some of these secret rares are like 15 cents. So yeah, if you want a new fun deck to play, pick this one up. Even the extra deck secret rare monster is $3. This card, by the way, Yoko, looks insanely good. And I really like the skeletal Mayakashi too. I really like skeletons. So I just really like that artwork. But yeah, something to consider. Next is Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. I believe you're going to play this at 1 to 2 copies in Albaz decks, but this is moving up and it bottoms out to around $1. But there's still some. I'm going to refresh this because these might be gone already. I actually can't believe that these haven't got more attention. This is getting a common reprint, so you don't have to stress out too much about this getting bought out. But if you wanted a, you know, nice looking super rare, these are going up in price. So near mints around 65 cents, but the first play set is at 85 cents. There's quite a few copies, you know, by some of these bigger sellers. But I think these will disappear pretty quickly. But once people need to start picking them up, but I think this could be a $2 card fairly easily. But it just kind of depends. People might be tired of buying out Albaz cards. But I actually have a copy around if you want to see it. I need to get a couple more, but it just looks like a really cool dragon card. And it's actually pretty generic. If you're playing any kind of Albaz engine in your deck, you can play this card because all you need to do is send a Albaz or a branded, I believe, or a branded spell and trap from your deck to the graveyard. Hold on, let me read it for you. I don't want to get it wrong. Okay, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send one fallen Albaz or branded spell trap from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Apply the following effect based on where you send it from. If it's from the hand, you can special summon this card. But if you send it from the deck, you can place this card on the bottom of your deck. Then if you place this card from your hand, draw 1 card. So you can, I feel like it's even a good engine if you don't even want to special summon this, which I think you probably would because it's a free level 8. But if you wanted to just like shuffle your deck and get a free draw, I think that's fine too. But that's all I really wanted to talk about as far as this card. We talked about this, so we'll move on. So next is going to be, I'm going to talk about the deep sea archetype. So we do have water support coming in a duelist pack sometime this year. I'm not sure exactly when, and it could have been delayed, but I would start looking at picking up deep sea divas and deep sea areas and deep sea prima donnas because right now they're extremely cheap. And I think that these will get quite a bit of attention as we move forward, especially if we're getting water synchro support, which we probably will, because in my opinion, I think that's probably the best option for now. I guess mermails are pretty decent too, but I think the water synchro deck is just really fun and very competitive, and you can rip hand traps out of your opponent's hand. Even deep sea repertoire, they're down to like $1 now. I would pick up that as well. Personally, if you're going to get Deep Sea Diva, I would get the OTS Super Rare or the Turbo Pack Booster 4 Super Rare. But obviously this is really expensive, and I personally wouldn't buy that for myself just because I think there's better cards to spend that kind of money on. This was better when it was around $46, $45 to $50, so I should say, when the OTS Tournament Pack first reprinted this as a Super Rare. But the Super Rare is around $2 to $3. And I suggest that you get them. Dual Saga is fine too. I just think that OTS Supers just kind of age better. Next is Deep Sea Aria for around $2 to $3. It's like probably one of my favorite looking secret rares. It just looks insanely good. And two, it's from Eternity Code, which is just a super short printed set. If you wanted to go with a lower end investment, they do have these available as super rares for like 15 cents. And I have these as well. So that's pretty safe as well. Most of these cards are commons too. So even if you just want to play like Deep Seas as like a Synchro engine in a water deck, it's just a super cheap deck to play. It does have its issues, but hopefully they'll give us some support that will kind of work those out. Deep Sea Prima Donna is also an insane synchro card that I'm surprised no one's found out a way to abuse it like in a synchro deck, other than water synchro decks. But it's from Eternity Code as well, and it's ultra rare, and it's around $1 to $1.50. I have a few of these lying around, but the only reprint that it has is a common from the Megatins, which will never be worth more than 50 cents. I could be wrong, but probably not. But if you want a good looking version, $1 to $1.50 is really not bad. Moving on. So I did want to talk about this. So last night I broke my Eldlik deck back out on Dueling Nexus, and I was playing some games to try to get familiar with the deck, because I'm going to be doing a profile tomorrow. And I played against Dynamorphia, which I had no idea what this deck does, and I got blown out of the water. Well, for one, I didn't know what this deck does whatsoever, and also I had this is like a trap heavy deck, and I had no kind of I wasn't prepared. I didn't have Cosmic Cyclones or anything in my deck, because I was just trying to remember the combos. And this deck blew me out completely, and it's actually a pretty insane deck. And it's getting support in this next booster set coming out in like a month. If you don't know much about this deck, go check it out. But basically, I'll give you a quick rundown. It's a trap fusion based deck. Basically, your Thursia is going to set, when you normal or special summon it, it's going to set any Dynamorphia trap from your deck. And basically, your Dynamorphia domain, whenever you activate it, you can fusion summon one Dynamorphia fusion monster from your extra deck by sending the materials from your deck or hand as materials, like to the graveyard, which is really, really good. You do have to pay half your life points, but all of your effects are based on having low life points. But every trap also protects you from taking damage from your opponent. So even if you're down to 1,000 life points, you have protection. They're different. So like the regular traps or the normal traps, they protect you from any effect damage, which is good because you can't risk effect damage with your life points very low. And then counter traps protect you from any battle damage. When you banish them, like all the traps, when you banish them from the graveyard, they give you that effect. And then when we get the new set, we're getting another trap card that lets you fusion summon the same way that Domain does, except for you can use a monster from your extra deck and a monster from your deck or hand as materials. And if you don't know, because we don't have it up here yet, but there is a fusion monster coming out in that new set as well. That's basically a walking, I'd say, dark ruler, because basically what it does is it lets you, I think, have your life points, and then all of your opponent's monsters on the field, their attack points become the same as your life points, and as long as their monsters are equal to or less than your life points, they can't activate their monster effects, which is really good. And it's a quick effect, so you can activate it any time, so you can wait until they're in a crucial part of their combo to do it. It's just really insane. And then this Dynamorphia Kintrigina, it is a 4,000 attack monster, as long as your life points are 2,000 or below, and then for every life point that you're above, it takes a life point off of its attack points. But most of the time, your life points are going to be at 2,000 or below. But you're pretty protected. Once you start playing the deck, you'll understand why your life points need to be low, and that it's not really a big deal. But I picked up this entire core last night, and it cost, I think, $45 with shipping and tax and everything in, which is really good. And then this is the other card that I was thinking about getting, higher rarity, this Starlight rare. But I'm kind of stuck between, do I want to get this Starlight rare or do I want to get the collector rare Chaos Creator? So let me know in the comment section what you think I should get, but moving on. Next is Illusion of Chaos. I'm going to check, but I wanted to point out that there's a copy here for $37. And that's probably gone, I would say. But it could be there, but you know, if someone's been waiting for this, this is a good, okay, I think it's gone actually. Here's 6 there for 40, which is really good. This card might kind of bounce between 35 and 50 for the next few months, especially when Despia comes out. It'll probably go towards 30 to 35 because I think a lot of people are gonna forget about Based and want to play Despia, Albaz, or some form of Albaz. But I think when we get Legendary Duels Season 3 and we get a reprint for Magician Souls, this card's gonna like skyrocket to probably like $60 to $70 because now Magician Souls is gonna be affordable and everybody's head's gonna turn to this card and this is gonna disappear. So I think this is a good short-term investment. And usually when I say short-term, I mean under 6 months. So keep that in mind. I think that's going to be a really good card to pick up, and it looks amazing. It's a great card to have in your collection. Moving on is Artifact Lancea. Secret rare out of Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge. The last time I checked, this card was going for $10 to $11, which was a few months ago. But this card's moving up in price. It is, there's 1 copy left for 13, and then we're at $15, bottoming out to 16. If you want this card, it's still time to get it because it's just going to continue to go up in price, especially since I think this is going to be a very good card to play going into the next format. I think Scythe will kind of die out anyways, but I just think that we're getting too many decks that can play around it where now it's just not a good main deck card to play. I'm personally shifting my attention away from playing Scythe and then playing other cards, and I think other people will too. But luckily for you, if you don't want to spend money on the secret rare, there's quite a bit of printings for this card. We have a premium gold reprint for $2 to $3. But I recommend that you actually get the Dual Devastator Ultra Rare. I just think the Ultra Rare looks cleaner. And if you can find a seller that will sell you a near mint and it's actually near mint, because some of these get a little bit of edge wear in the box that they were produced in, I think it's going to hold up a lot better than the gold rares. The gold rares just chip very easily. And if you just play this in a deck for, say, a couple of months, it's going to be moderately played, most likely, like pretty quick. So for your sake, just try to pick up the ultra rares. Not that the premium gold rares are bad, but if you're a player and not just like a collector or a reseller, I would go with the ultra rare. But personally, I don't have a problem with golds. I think for collection wise, they're fine if you're keeping them, in a sleeve and putting them in your binder. But this is not really a collector's card; it's more of a player's card. You can purchase them for resale if you want, depending on if that's up to you. Just don't play them if you're doing that. We'll talk about a card that I bought a bunch of gold rares of later that I'm purchasing for resale, but I'm not going to be playing. So that whenever I send them out, they'll be in good condition. Next is Fantastical Dragon Phantazmay from Savage Strike, secret rare. These are going for around $16 to $17 for light play unlimited, going up to $18 here for near mint unlimited. And then we'll check out first editions. They are going for $25 for light play. And near mint, I imagine, is probably 27 or 28. Actually 33. I think this is a card to keep your eye on. You don't need to necessarily pick this card up right now, per se. If you want to get the ultra rares or super rares, I probably would just go ahead and get those for an investment. But we're not going to really see this card see much play in the next few months because there just aren't really any link decks that you can There are, but there aren't. Like, majority of what we're going to see is Albaz, Despia, and this just doesn't do anything against that deck. And then, you know, decks like Flunderies also being around, this doesn't do anything against that deck. So I think we might just continue to see this card dip a little bit more. But I think long term, these are definitely great to have. Scythe Frame Gear Delta. I just wanted to point this out to you, but this card has been bought out to like $7, $8 before. We can probably see it on the price chart. Yeah, see here, this was in September of last year. It was $7. With Scythe Frames, like Gear Gamma coming back in, this card probably will get attention for a short period of time. I think this card actually could be used. You have to play Lambda in conjunction, or otherwise this card's just not really worth it. But I'm thinking about picking up a playset for an investment and to play around with, because I would be interested to see what you can do with this card, really. Next is a card that my buddy wanted to go over, but it's Sorvis, the Ancient and Ascended, secret rare from Invasion of Vengeance. This has 2 printings. I think the other one's out of dual Overload or dual power. It's ultra rare. We can look at that too. But basically, we're going to go over 2 cards with this. So it's Herald of the Arclight and Sorvis. Basically, if you're playing your Herald of the Arclight, whether it's Drytron or any kind of synchro deck, or if you're sending it off even like Dear Servant, I don't think that's the best thing to do. But regardless, if you get Herald of the Arclight in the graveyard somehow from your extra deck, you can add this card to your hand. And it just provides protection for your monsters. Basically, it's like a hand trap. It says during either player's turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster, you can, okay, that the first effect's not important because you have to, we'll just read the whole thing because I don't remember. You can ritual summon this card with Sprite's Blessing. During either player's turn, when your opponent targets a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard this card and negate the activation. There's the relevant effect. You can discard this during either player's turn when your monster would special summon a monster. When your opponent would special summon a monster, I'm butchering this. You can return this card from your field to the hand, negate that special summon. If you do, banish that monster. So you're not going to be ritual summoning this card realistically unless you're playing this as a deck, but it does provide protection on either player's turn. If your opponent would try to pop your card with, say, like DPE. So this could be a nice option if you are playing Herald of the Arclight. And this is going for $10 or $10 for light play first edition, then going to $10.50 for Near Mint Unlimited, and then botting out to around $13 to $14. Do I think this is a great investment? I don't think it's the best, honestly, for $15. If you're going for the secret rare, I don't think you'll lose value on this card. I think it's just going to probably stagnate around this price. It has slowly risen over time. So yeah, you could pick these up and they probably will increase slowly, but I think it's just going to take a long time. Yeah, it looks like the time to buy them was last year when they were around $5. But we'll look at the ultra rare as well. I just don't see this card really being a $25 card, to be honest. But it could be a $17 to $18 card. But personally, I just think there's better investments. So the ultra rare is around $1. Yeah, see, if you want to pick these up, I think that's perfectly fine. I think this is a good price for this. And these will probably, if the other one continues to go up, I think this could easily be a $3 to $4 card. So I think, honestly, if you were going to invest in this card, which I don't really advise you invest in multiple copies other than just having a play set for yourself, but don't go buy, a ton of copies of this. Herald of the Arclight, ultra rare, coming out of Battle's Legend Heroes Revenge. These are around $2 for light play and bottoming out to $2.50 for near mint. I think these are important to always have because this card's always going to be good as long as synchros are around. And any kind of card effects that come out that let you pitch a monster from your extra deck to your graveyard, this probably will always see play with that as well. And a better target than Sarvis when you're sending your Herald of the Arclight to grave, is going to be your artifact Lancea. Because artifact Lancea is just an insane blowout card, and I would rather get a Lancea, in my opinion, than get a Sarvis. But that's just me personally. Thanks to my friend for pointing this out to me so that we can go over this. Definitely both really good cards. But other than that, I think that's about all I have for this market watch. Other than that, I did want to announce, so the Eldlik deck profile will come tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'm going to try to do a live stream, like a test live stream. I don't know how long we're going to end up doing it, but we can test it out. Probably, I'm going to say we're going to start the live stream at, let's do 7 p.m. And I can commit to doing like 20 to 30 minutes. And then we'll just see how many people show up, since people wanted to do it. But yeah, I'll probably stick around for like 15 to 20 minutes. And then if people do show up to it, I'll stay around. We'll go over whatever cards you want to go over, or talk about any decks that you want to talk about, or if you have any kind of questions, anything goes. But yeah, we'll just test it out and see how it goes. And then that'll help us plan like longer streams, or different activities. Another thing that I might want to try in the future is doing like a live stream where I'm playing either remote duels or like online duels against some of you guys. I think that would be a fun time. But with that aside, I guess, yeah, that's all I have for today. Whenever this goes up, I will be online as well, kind of watching with y'all. But y'all won't actually know that because this video will be over anyways. But yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.